Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very accomplished entrepreneur from Karachi, Pakistan, Mr. Furqan Kidwai. Furqan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Furqan is the co-founder and chief operating officer of YPay Financial Services. So Furqan, let's talk about YPay and financial services. Tell me a little bit about your background and your motivation to start this business.
So thank you for this opportunity. And I think I'll introduce my background and I will connect it with the story of how I started with YPay. Correct. So just a brief background, I'm not a finance major. I'm a computer science major. So I did my undergraduate from a local university here in Pakistan. That's called Habib University. It's the first liberal arts institute in Pakistan. So with liberal arts institute, I had the opportunity to take courses outside of my computer science major as well. I had the opportunity to take a couple of quarter semesters at Stanford University, where I basically started pursuing data science as my specialization within computer science. And I had the opportunity to see how data science world is working across the globe. So when I came back, when I was in my final year, I had the opportunity that I was hired at Deloitte as a financial analyst, and I was working on credit risk models. So it was around 2019 when the COVID hit and all the offices went virtual, work from home policies were implemented, even universities went virtual. We had online classes. So when we were leaving our office, I was not a finance major. I was working as an analyst who was working as a data scientist for finance field. So I heard people discussing about investing in the time of recession. So when the stock markets were crashed at that time and people were talking, we should invest in blue chips so that we will be able to book profits when we recover from COVID and the stock markets start performing again. So I had the curiosity when I heard this and I was like, what are they talking about? I never heard something similar to it in my entire life. So I went back to my friend who was also my computer science major friend. And I discussed this opportunity with him, and with very, you'd say, little to zero knowledge, we went to the, so Karachi is basically the financial hub of Pakistan. And just like Wall Street, we have a kind of a Wall Street of Pakistan, which is called II Chandigarh Road here in Karachi, which is in the downtown in Karachi. So we went to the II Chandigarh Road, the Wall Street of Pakistan, and by somehow we went to the Pakistan Stock Exchange building. We didn't know anyone. We were exploring, and somehow we went to the third floor and we went to meet some broker through which we tried to open our first brokerage account. And it took us, I think, more than 15 days to open a brokerage account in the time of COVID, in the time of digital era, and a couple of visits for our biometric and our signing of the forms. So we realized that this is a hassle process. A, we didn't know about this financial market regulated investment avenues in Pakistan. And B, we didn't have the accessibility to these capital markets. And when we dig down, we research and we found out that Pakistan, unfortunately, has one of the lowest investment to GDP ratio in the world, which you call as savings ratio in the world. And this is not something particular to this region. If we see, so world's average is around 24%, Pakistan is around 16%. India is around 29-30%. Bangladesh is around 27-28%. Nigeria is around 25%. China is around 42%. So it's a problem particular to Pakistan. And the major reasons were the lack of awareness of the investment literacy, or you could say financial literacy among the masses. And we're talking about the fifth most populous country, where we have 220 million population. And I think more than 65% of the population is below the age of 35 years old. So the lack of awareness among masses and the accessibility to the capital markets. These were the two major issues that we identified, and we started working and brainstorming on this idea. So that is how YPay came into being. So YPay's mission was to basically So we believed in achieving a financially stable Pakistan by creating easy and equal investment opportunities for everyone.
Fantastic.
So we wanted to become the easiest and you could say the in terms of accessibility, we wanted to become the easiest savings and investment app in Pakistan. So we consulted with few incubators, local incubators here in Pakistan. We brought some angel kind of board advisors on board who were financially experts, who have 2 decades of experience in this industry. And we brainstormed on this idea. And luckily in 2020, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, for the first time in Pakistan, they held their first regulatory sandbox. So globally, usually the regulators do these kind of sandbox to promote innovation, to bring up ideas that are not already regulated. So we applied to that first regulatory sandbox, and alhamdulillah, we were among the first 6 startups that were selected in the first ever regulatory sandbox here in Pakistan. So that's the journey. That's how I started.
Fantastic. And what is the range of financial services that you offer to the young people in Pakistan?
So we basically we are a combination of 2 things. We are an investment literacy platform, and we are the investment accessibility platform. So the 2 problems that I identified earlier, so we are solving those 2 problems. So we basically, so the awareness part, we do it through our financial wellness program. So we have a financial wellness program in which we basically partner with universities. We partner with the small and medium enterprises. We partner with different startups where we basically go and do personal finance one-on-one sessions. And if they are strategic partners, their employees, their students have the accessibility to book one-on-one personal finance sessions as well with one of our financial gurus as well. So that is the awareness part. And then we basically give them the accessibility. So we are the first digital distributor of mutual funds in Pakistan, centralized distributor of mutual funds in Pakistan. So we on our platform, so there are basically 14 asset management companies in Pakistan, and roughly each asset management company have 8 to 10 mutual funds. So we aggregated all the mutual funds on our platform, so you don't have to go to the brokerage firm. You can just open your mutual fund account within 2 minutes, and you can start investing from your home at your ease. So you don't have to do any biometric. You don't have to do. So we proposed this idea to the SCCP, and they were pleased with the idea. We did a sandbox experimentation. They were pleased with the results. So they came up with the commercial licensing. So we applied for the commercial licensing in the late 2021, and we got a commercial license this year only in February 2022. And we basically launched our product in March 2022. And from there, we basically have around 8 to 10,000 customers that are actively using our platform, educating themselves about personal finance, and also investing and saving their money for longer term and short term as well, depending on their risk appetite.
Amazing, amazing. You also say that you are ensuring asset management services to make them accessible to the young student population.
Yeah.
How are you ensuring this? And when you say students, what level of students are you talking about? College or even lower?
So we basically, our target persona is basically final year students and early and mid-career professionals. So the reason for that is because in Pakistan is one of the fastest growing freelancer economy as well, where the gig economy is developing. Early and mid-career professionals are basically, they have lesser responsibilities compared to us mid or senior level individual employee. So they have something to save or invest. They just don't know they don't have the awareness, and they don't have the accessibility. So through our branding and through our awareness campaigns, we are basically making sure that they are aware about their personal finances, just like what Grow and Zerodha have done it in India. There are perfect examples of how the people of this region need awareness about. So we are targeting not just through in-person campaigns, but we're also doing our financial awareness campaigns through digital platforms where they basically are residing. So it could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn. The early and mid-career professionals, you will find most of them on LinkedIn, whereas the university students will be mostly on Instagram and Facebook, so or YouTube. So the idea is to basically interact with them and give them the basics of personal finance so that they are aware of. So to understand the appetite of investment. So I think in 2021, more than $50 million have been invested into crypto by these young individuals.
Wow.
Whereas the crypto is not even regularized in Pakistan. So they want to invest, they have the potential, just don't they have the awareness of the regulated investment avenues in Pakistan and the accessibility. So that's the major issue.
Oh, wonderful. And tell me, Furqan, for young people in Pakistan, what are the challenges you are addressing from the perspective of investment through YPay?
I think the two major issues for the young population, which I personally faced as a young individual after graduating from my university, I think talking about financial literacy or personal finance is kind of a taboo here in Pakistan. It was similar case in India, I think 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So people don't really talk about their personal finance. They can sit with their friends. They can talk about they can talk about modernity. They can talk about history. They can talk about philosophy, but they don't talk about personal finance, just like about how the sexual education is taboo here in this region. So I think there is a huge lag about personal finances, because if we compare an individual with a graduate who is graduating from a university abroad, they're already made aware about their personal finances and how they need to start saving, investing at an early age, which will give them returns at the age of 40 or 45. They can do an early retirement with their passive income as well. So I think the awareness part is the major part that is missing for the young student population. And it's not just related to investment literacy. It's related to financial literacy, all aspects of financial literacy, whether it's about how they can use their credit history, whether how they can maintain their credit history, how they can leverage their credit history to get other products or different loans at a better rate. So these are the basics that are missing in the masses. And I think the legacy players, because of they are very much dependent on the HNIs and the corporates, because the most of the chunk of their money, the business comes from these HNIs and corporates. So they're not very much into you say the masses. So that's the reason the awareness is lacking. And I think the second issue is the accessibility, which regulators are playing a huge part, which players like us, startups like us, playing a huge part in building the accessibility. So I think we are on the right track in terms of the accessibility part. The awareness part will take time. Obviously, there's a huge population.
Oh, absolutely.
But we are on the right track.
I agree. But tell me, you just mentioned legacy players. Who are the legacy players who, in India also, we saw this 20 years ago when the brokerages were not completely digitized, etc. How are the legacy players reacting to a young digital startup like yourself?
Yeah. So I would give an example from a different lens. So recently, State Bank of Pakistan, for the first time, they have introduced a digital bank license. So you'd see how they are reacting. So it's basically the digital bank license is for players who want to just do digital banking. So they are mobile wallets. They are licensing for mobile wallets, but they can't lend or they can't reinvest their portfolio amount. So for digital bank, it's kind of between wallets and the commercial banks. So you'd see there were 5 slots for the digital bank licensing, and all the big 10 commercial banks who are also the primary dealers in the primary market have applied for the digital bank license.
Okay.
So they are very keen. So they are like, we don't want to miss the opportunity. They're not doing their job that they were supposed to do, but they're also applying for new opportunities and innovation that are out there. So they are reacting and they are very keen. So they don't want to miss out this roller coaster. So they also want to be a part of it. So they're also applying for digital bank license. So that's how they are reacting.
Fantastic. My next question to you, Furqan, is, on the cashless economy. India has traditionally been a cash economy, but in the last 8-9 years, we have seen a very significant move to digitization. So much so that we are the largest economy in the world which has digital transactions. Do you see, as the founder of YPay, Pakistan moving towards more and more digitization?
I think the best answer would be, so whatever happens in India, Pakistan is basically, in terms of finance, so State Bank or the different startups or the regulators are basically, you'd not say copying, but they are basically are on the footsteps of what India is doing on the finance side. So just like UPI, so UPI is the biggest payment system all over the world. So they have introduced RAS. So RAS is exactly what UPI is in India. So RAS is basically launched by the State Bank of Pakistan, and they have received a very positive response. So they have recently launched 6 months ago, and they have more than around, I think, 5 to 10 million accounts within that time. And in terms of digitization, so I'm not talking about tier 1 cities, I'm talking about tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So digital mobile wallets, so Pakistan has a population of 220 million. And we, in the last 4 years, we have registered around more than 100 million digital wallets in this tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So you see, the trend is happening. So people are going, you won't find 100 million bank accounts in Pakistan, but you'll find 100 million digital mobile wallets accounts, registered mobile wallets accounts in Pakistan. So the digitization is happening through wallets, through digital banks that will come in place. So the digitization is taking place, but it will take time to hit the volume that we are speaking of. So, but we are on the same footsteps that India was following 5 years ago. So RAS has been launched similar to UPI, digital mobile wallets, just like in India, and there are also digital banks coming in. So I see a huge potential in the market.
Wonderful. And do you, Furqan, see YPay getting into more downstream digital financial activities?
Yeah. So the idea is to build the savings and investment ecosystems, not just on a consumer level, but also on the infrastructure level, where we can also leverage our technology and give to other fintech players that we can become their savings and investment arm. So right now we started off with mutual funds, but we are planning to get stocks live on our platform, and eventually we're working with the regulator if we get the permission. So we will bring on board, inshallah, US stocks and crypto if it gets legal. So we want to become a wealth tech solution in the longer run. But with that, we will also be kind of becoming a personal mobile wallet as well. So people can save their money on YPay's mobile wallet as well and invest through mobile wallet. So we are on the track of becoming a mobile wallet as well, but our main agenda is savings and investment in Pakistan, and the penetration in this ecosystem, the investment ecosystem, is very low compared to the penetration in the cashless economy, where we were talking about digital wallets, mobile wallets. So that area already being crowded. So this area needs to be taken care of. So insurance is also taking off, but that has also not penetrated into the market. And investment is, you could say, the least, you would say, the most ignored child of Pakistani fintech ecosystem. So we are working on that ecosystem.
Wonderful. Furqan, I have time for 2 more questions. My next question is that in India, we have seen young Indians have started to consume a huge amount of data. As leading businessmen have said in India and all over the world, data is the new oil. Do you see a similar trend when you look at young people from the perspective of YPay and fintech?
I think absolutely. And there is no doubt that, so recently I was reading an article on Bloomberg. So it stated that India is now becoming the largest, you could say, data consumer, the point that you just mentioned. So in Pakistan, I would give a simple example for that. So 3 years ago, 4 years ago, before COVID, if you want to have my credit history, you will go to one of my banks or one of my credit card banks holder and ask how I'm performing on my credit card or on my bank account transaction. So recently, State Bank introduced, or you could say digital mobile wallets, the players have introduced a new way of credit profiling for tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So they don't have a bank account. So how will you do their credit profiling? So they are doing it through the data of their usage of their SIMs. So the technology that they were using for the last 10 years. So all the tier 2, tier 3 cities, people have a cellular network. So they are working with this telecom partners and building up a credit history on the basis of that. So that is the usage of data where the data was very limited. So just like in India, so Pakistan, the people are working on different streams of data, and how so the data is already out there. So when we talk about digitization, the data is out there. It's the matter of how you use it and how significant it's going to be in the longer run. So this example really fascinates me, that they have introduced a new credit profiling method for tier 2 and tier 3 cities people, which I never thought of that it would be able. So they can also get some lending products. Otherwise, they can't. If they want to take a loan from a commercial bank, they won't be able to do it because they don't have a credit history, they don't have a bank account, and banks will not facilitate them as the digital lending wallets are performing. They won't be facilitating as much as bank.
Fantastic. And Furqan, my last question, and this is for the many, many young people who will listen to our conversation. And a lot of them, like you, will be startup entrepreneurs, not just in India, Pakistan, but across the world. What would you say are 3 lessons that you want our viewers and listeners to take away from your learnings and from your journey?
I think I will relate to my learnings from Kunal Shah. So Kunal Shah is a founder of Cred, which is the leading credit profiling startup in India. So I really listen to him and look up to him. So I think for me personally, the three key takeaways would be opportunity. The first one would be opportunities. So we are living in a region where opportunities are immense. So every problem is an opportunity. Just like I faced a problem when I was opening my brokerage account. So you will be facing significant problems in your daily life. And you need to think of how can I increase the efficiency of that solution. So for example, I increase the efficiency. So if a brokerage account was taking 7 days, I reduce it to 1 day. And you don't need to visit a brokerage account. So that's 1/7 of the time that were taking place. So you need to think of an opportunity that is out there. You need, if you pick an opportunity, you need to be passionate about it. So I was not a finance major, but when I faced this problem, I was really fascinated about the solution of this problem. And I really put I left my job at Deloitte, a well-paying job at Deloitte. I worked on this idea. Even before I got the funding, I put my own money in. And I was really passionate about solving this problem, although I had zero knowledge about finance. So you really need to be, so skills and knowledge are something that you will develop over time. But your passion is something that will keep you driving for solving that problem. So I think opportunity, passion, and the last thing is the gratitude. I think people say that the journey is the journey that matters a lot. It's the company that matters a lot. I think journey would be fruitful if you have a sense of gratification. If you don't show the gratitude on the journey, you will never be satisfied with the journey. There will be ups, there will be downs, but if you have a sense of gratitude, I think you will learn a lot, and you will be, I think you will be saying, you will make the most out of that journey. Because without gratitude, there is no journey, and there is no fun, and there is no learning. So always the company matters, but it's the gratitude with that company that matters the most. So I think these are the three key takeaways that I will say.
Furqan, on that note, and your 3 amazing lessons, think of an opportunity, Be passionate about what you want to do once you have thought of an opportunity, and always remember that there is a lot of gratitude involved in getting where you are. Thank you so much for speaking to me. It has been amazing. I had never imagined a conversation like this with someone so young. Your passion has come through. For our viewers and listeners, Furqan has already said he's a computer engineer turned a financial entrepreneur. Thank you for telling me so much about the journey of the finance and the fintech world in Pakistan. It was truly something new that I have learned today, and I'm sure all our viewers and listeners will listen and learn something new. And in the end, I love the slogan behind you on the cycle, enjoy the ride. So thank you so much for speaking to me again, and good luck to you and YPay.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure to be here. And I think, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to more, listening to more entrepreneurs at your platform, and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.